200 wide receivers to 15 defensive backs standing over there. And I can't understand what the mindset is, other than maybe people think more glamour or touchdowns. Someone's throwing you the football. Um, and I don't, I just have a personal problem, I guess, of why I know, like you, that it's more difficult to learn. Really have to be instinctive um, on defense, right? Because you knew, as you said, you knew where you were going. I didn't know. We don't know where they're going. You're running backwards. You got to tackle them. There's so much more you got to work on other than just catching the ball. Okay, they got to tap their feet. They got to do some other things. But I mean, trying to teach someone how to play defensive back, learn the coverages, checks. Um, I don't know. I just think it's tougher for us to play on
Well,
defense.
yeah, I mean,
That's all.
I think they're, and you mentioned the checks. I didn't even think about the checks. When you're on offense and you got to make a check, I don't make the check. The quarterback does, and he tells me what the check is. That's it. And on defense, you make checks on motions. Sometimes you make checks on, formation. Is number 6 in the game? Is he not in the game? Is he lined up at tight end? Did he start at tight end and he went over there? And you've got, you have, very incomplete information. You just know what you're supposed to be doing in a general sense. In a perfect world, this is what you do. You cover the flats, or you cover this guy who is probably going to run a hitch, and your job's super easy. But then what happens if, they don't, maybe he doesn't go in motion. Maybe they just do a whole shift and they flip both receivers on the side. Are you supposed to go with them? You're not supposed to go with them. Is it a new formation? Like, there's just too many things down the checklist that you have to do before the ball is even snapped. You can't, the defense can only do so much to confuse the quarterback. Maybe you do some games up front. Maybe you line up in a 2 shell and you roll to 1, or vice versa. But the offense can just move and do whatever they want to do
Yeah.
whenever.
So do you think the Cowboys put enough value or emphasis on secondary play based upon that? Load up on offense, or Cooper, CD Lamb, Gallup, Zeke. We've done enough in the secondary to really find the dudes to help us win.
No, I don't. I don't think they have. And as far as like the NFL is supposed to be being a copycat league. I mean, the team that has won the most Super Bowls in recent memory, I wouldn't exactly say they had a high powered offense. They had some dude named Julian Edelman, a bunch of other receivers that nobody's ever heard of, and who it was anybody's guess on which running back was actually going to get touches that game or not.
Yeah, I can't play with their fantasy backs at all.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, you had Tom Brady. So you had, a great quarterback. But as far as Tom Brady's supporting cast, like, if Tom Brady was on the Cowboys, Tom Brady would have the greatest offensive set ever in terms of like the best linemen and the best receivers and whatnot. But Tom Brady still had a defense. He still had, he had defenses with Teddy Bruschi on there. They've had the best corners, or, they had, what's his name? Stephon Gilmore's there. They got, it's not Hightower, is it? No, I think Dante Hightower is there. He sat out last year, but he's there. They've had a long line of just solid defenses. And
Mm,
the Cowboys, even when they were running, when they were winning Super Bowls in the 90s, yeah, you had Troy and Emmett and Michael Irving, but that defense was still a top. If it wasn't the top defense that year, they were in the top 5.
They we managed to be in the top five, top 10 most of the time in the glory days. I would say I feel like the defense is going to be pretty good this year. You know, speaking outside of the value and all that, I still want to know if the front can overcome what may be happening in the back. You know, is Donovan Wilson still the guy, or Darian Thompson?
No,
What
Darian
what
Thompson
do
is
they?
not the guy.
You um, you, we got our boy Diggs. Uh, what's the kid's name from Kentucky? I believe the new corner.
Uh, Kelvin Joseph.
Yeah. So is he the answer for the other side, opposite of
Well, I mean,
Diggs?
I just hope that he's also not like Mo Claiborne. You know, he's got all the promise and he was just a raw talent. And then, like, I don't know, maybe we didn't develop him and he ended up not working out for us. But I mean, even if you have
Well,
Kelvin Joseph, I still think you can benefit from, your two starting corners not having a combined 1 year of NFL experience.
so do we need a veteran? You're getting into a point, a veteran like a Richard Sherman or someone else that's been there, played on high quality teams. You can put all the stuff, the work ethic, uh, knows all the checks and all the kind of stuff. Do we need someone like that? Or is youth the right way to go complete, in the secondary?
No, I think youth is the right way to go in general. But I think you need somebody that can actually just step in and can be reliable. I mean, especially I understand Richard Sherman's 33 or whatever, and the question is, does he still have it or whatnot? But I mean, at the end of the day, Richard Sherman is a proven corner who has played with Dan Quinn before, and that's nothing to sneeze at. I think that's something that we can benefit from, even if it's just a year or two. Because I mean, if the most senior guy in the locker in the DB room, as far as corners go, is Diggs, I think you're setting yourself up to fail. Not because Diggs is not a good corner, it's just because Diggs doesn't really know the ropes yet. There's nobody in here that can say, "Hey, dude, I've been doing this for 10 years and I'm still here. You do it like this, and maybe you can last in the league 10 years too."
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I just hope that they do well. We're gonna know early. Um, I mean, catching Tampa Bay early on, first game out to shoot is gonna tell a lot. Yes, shorten camp, shorten preseason games, and then stepping into you know playing the Super Bowl champs, who does have a pretty prolific offense. Still, it's gonna take some shots. I think that's gonna set the tempo pretty early. Um, for the Dallas Cowboys and what that season is gonna look like, in
Well,
my opinion.
do you think that
Because
do you think that they win that game Thursday night in Tampa Bay?
um, what I think is that it's going to be closer. Okay, so to answer your question, I don't think they win, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than what people think is it could be. Um,
All right, so
I
give
think
me
that
a
the
number.
pressure up front.
Like we saying less than a touchdown. We saying less than 10.
I think it's less than 10. I think that the defensive front, quoting as linebackers, the kid from Penn State, drawing a blank on his name, he's really, really good. I mean, you talked about that on your show with Nick, guys, and I think the pressure that they're going to be up to do up front, there is some depth up front now. That front seven, I think, will do a really good job. Dan Quinn's going to bring some pressure on those guys, and I don't think they're going to let Tom Brady just stand back there. throw the ball around. They got some pretty good running backs too. I know, got that too. But I think we're more solid up front. And if there is a problem, it's going to be in the secondary. But I think the rush, D Law's a different guy. He's ready to go. Um, I just think it's going to be more of a defensive game because they got all year to work on them. You know,
Yeah, I suppose. My hang up with it was just I look at who I feel we have in the secondary, and then I look at Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, Gronk, and OJ Howard, and apparently Scotty Miller, and I'm just like, how? It's like even if you do have a great pass rush, you know, Tom Brady gets rid of the ball sometimes so quick. It's like, does it even matter?
I think that's what would be the advantage if he want to throw the ball quick though for us. If they're not taking the shots down the field,
Okay.
that's what I. But you know, they're deep, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I do think that we should have got a veteran. I don't know who it would have been. Richard Sherman, your boy that played with you at Heat,
Jamal?
Jamal. You know, Adams was he's a guy to come as well. Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, I mean, any of those names I would have liked. Well, I don't know. Maybe not since Earl Thomas couldn't kick it in Baltimore, but at the time I thought that would have been a decent idea.
Someone at least brought them in the building, you know, even if they were going to outprice you or whatever it was. Bring them in. Let's see.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I had polls set up.
all right.
Um, Facebook is not letting me publish them, so I guess maybe I should have published them before the show. But I thought that would have spoiled it, so I didn't. So I guess people can let us know in the comments on whether or not they think we should have actually brought in Witcher Sermon or not. But one of the other polls was going to be the opening line for Vegas on the Cowboys wins was 9.5. And I'm wondering, were you taking the over or the under? And it was hard for me because when I did that test stream with me, Nick, and Darian, I was basically a coin flip in between whether they were going to be 9-8 or 10-7. So yeah, this is just yet another example of Vegas being good at what they do, picking a line that is.
So tell us about this thing that you use though. I mean, my answer is they're going to go over.
So what was the question? Because you cut out there for a second.
I'm sorry. Saying the and the beta test.
What was I using in the beta test for the stream?
No, to figure out what did you do to run these scenarios,
Oh,
probabilities?
I didn't do any of that. We didn't do any of that. I literally just pulled up the schedule and I walked through each one of the games on the schedule and I said win or loss. And there were just a couple that I was like, this one could go either way. I want to say Nick and Darian both picked the over. I think they were more leaning towards 10 wins than 9. Nick was very adamant that they were going to beat the Bucks on Thursday. I was very adamant that they're not. I actually had the Cowboys off to a slow start. I think I had them maybe 0-3. I got to pull up the schedule again. But I had them like maybe 0-3 and then just like rattling off a whole bunch of wins and finding themselves like 6-3.
Well, they would be happy with that, but I don't know that we're going to come out. I don't know. After I see what's going on in camp, see how that play, because Zeke is really on fire. It might be a good offensive game. You know, I just when does Amari Cooper get back? Is the
Um,
injury all good? Is he supposed to be ready for training camp?
I think you know that better than me. I'm actually gonna see if I can actually just pull up the schedule here. So here it is. Um, so well here's the thing, because we talked about this a little bit on the other stream, which was do you how hard is it to play 2 away games back to back, especially on opposite coasts? So the Cowboys have to go to Florida and play a night game and then go all the way to Los Angeles and play an evening game. How difficult is that really? And what is the schedule like? When do you leave?
You don't come back home. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You're off mic, but that's okay.
Yeah, the thing just flipped. Um, so it's extremely hard to go from coast to. A lot of times they will go and time change to come in central time, eastern, and west. They get there early to try to get some jet lag, something that, especially while you're trying to recover from a game. So they might do a quick stop here, and you go out early, maybe practice the whole week. Um, Definitely got to be there by then instead of rolling in because that's extremely hard to do. They kind of got a raw deal there.
Yeah,
Can you make that screen a little bit bigger?
I can.
Yeah, there we go.
So Coach Hart says over 9.5 wins. So I still haven't decided. So I'm reserving judgment, but this is basically. So I'll tell you why I said 0-3. And yes, I understand it's the Eagles. But the reason why I said they might start 0-3 is just because I just don't have any faith that they can beat Tampa Bay. I just don't think that Tom Brady and Bruce Arians are going to let that happen, coming out of Super Bowl win, and then they come out and lose in week 1. And then I'm using the body clock excuse on why they lose to the Chargers, not because I think the Chargers are necessarily a good team either. But like you said, going from one coast to the other coast, the time difference, you don't get to go home and you got to play that game. I think that's hard, and that just ends up being a rough loss. And then you got to play Monday night at home. And yeah, it's an extra day and whatnot, but it's still Monday night. Like there is no rhythm here. I feel like you just, at the beginning of the season, you're not on a cadence yet. It's all sporadic. You never get into a groove, and I don't think they find their groove until Carolina. And then they win 3 straight, and they go on the bye 500. That's kind of where I landed on, and that's kind of how I got to like 9 wins.
No, I don't think they go. I disagree with you on those first 3 because if we don't beat the Chargers, which we should be able to do, even with the the time change. And I'm thinking, now we're going from Thursday to Sunday, the following Sunday. Maybe there's something there. You know, you know what I'm looking at though, for real. Looking at this Philadelphia Eagles game, it said tickets low as $47. What the heck is that? What
Well,
$47
hold
is
on.
that?
No, look at the next one.
What is this? Yeah, right. That must be that standing room only section. Huh?
All the ones that are low look to be home games. So yeah, it probably is standing room only.
Has anybody? Have you really that section? I don't. I think you've been too spoiled. You hadn't actually been in that standing room section.
Okay, well, hold on. So now I have not been on the standing room section that's like down on the floor, like where I don't even know why people do it because I feel like you can't see anything but people's feet.
No, not that one. Those are considered boxes. The one is like on the concourse, the atrium way.
Okay, yes. So I have. It just wasn't for a. And Emily says.
Program?
Emily says that she thinks that we forgot that we're losing to the Saints. No, that's a dub.
Yeah.
But I was on the concourse because a buddy of mine from college, Connor, I think you had met him because he came down just the one weekend. We went to WrestleMania 31 at Cowboy Stadium, and he bought standing room only tickets, and we were standing in the concourse leaning over the rail for like 4 hours. So, it might not have been a football game, but I have been in there when the stadium was packed and had to stand. We had a good time though. But I know how it feels.
Well, okay. Well, I want to say hello to Craig Young. He's one of our favorite guys. Always good feedback and all that stuff. So he's jumping to the chat as well. Good to see you, Craig. We're doing fine. That I only did I've never bought a ticket in the concourse deal, but I visited. So there was some adult beverages going on over there. It seemed like it was a big party. I really wanted to see what was happening.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's so easy.
One time.
It's so easy to go get a beer. You're standing right in front of the concession stand. You don't have a seat. You don't have to crawl over anybody. You just turn around, you go stand in line, and you come right back.
There has to be an age something because standing up for 4 hours in professional football is ridiculous. That's not, can't do that. That's not more.
So look at Craig's comment here. He said he had the funniest conversation with his buddy who was an Auburn fan. His 5-year-old son asked how long till Saban dies so we can win again. Well,
it ain't gonna matter. Actually,
yeah. Tell your buddy Craig that I am thoroughly unimpressed with the hire of Brian Harsin, and that it might be a while before Auburn is consistent again.
So, do you think they're really that far away? Do you think Auburn is really that far away, or what is the range between the top half of the SEC team? Like 1 or 2 games away. You put A&M, Alabama, Georgia. I mean, does it start to fall off, or Auburn not really that far? South Carolina not that far.
I think South Carolina is a little bit farther than South Carolina fans think. But Auburn's weird, right? Because at any given year, they can be national championship contenders and then follow it up with just one of the worst seasons ever. They can be, 1 year they're fighting for a playoff spot and lose to Georgia on something stupid. And then the next year they're winning 3 games and everybody's like, how does Gus Malzahn still have a job? And they pull in good talent. I just think they've been so inconsistent. I'd never know where to gauge Auburn at the beginning of the year, I usually just look at their last year record and just flip it. So, okay, you were 8-4 last year. You're probably going 4-8 this year. And they just seem to alternate between those two somehow. But I think Ole Miss is going to end up being something to be afraid of. I think Lane Kiffin has matured a bit, and I think he called the game of his life last year. They just didn't have any kind of defense to help. I think Florida's still pretty good. They'll end up reloading. I don't know if they'll be as good as they were last year, but they'll reload. Georgia's always going to be fine. But then, and I think Mississippi State's probably going to end up being better. Uh-oh, I've lost your audio. I saw Mississippi State is going to be something.
Mississippi State going to creep in.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know.
Uh-oh.
It's super late.
Yeah, it's real late.
I got a lag.
Oh, Craig Young says he's literally laughing out loud, especially Kiffin comments. Hey.
I apologize, everybody, for my internet. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I'll get him some tech support for next time. Maybe get him hooked up to a wired connection instead of whatever he's doing right now. We'll try to make something work for that. But
I don't think my laptop has a Ethernet.
I got something for you. I got a USB plug that plugs into Ethernet, and I'm sure around here I got like a 50-foot Ethernet cord that we can just run across the house for a minute. We can figure it out. Yeah, and Coach Hart's right. Mississippi State has the Pirate. How do you feel about Mike Leach? Have you ever seen any of his? Like post game or pre game interviews?
Who's?
Mike Leach.
Sorry, I'm so late. Yeah. I got a long drag.
Maybe we should do it in the same place. We don't live that far away from each other.
I got like a plan. I think that's a good idea, JT. Maybe we should do that. And I need to go ahead and say something good too.
Well, for the meantime, I guess we really only got 15 minutes left, so we can either fight through it or not. Your call. But I'll tell you a couple of stories about Mike Leach that makes him so interesting to me. One of those is when he was at Texas. Yeah, Craig, you might be right. If Mom gets on there and helps, it might work a little better. When Mike Leach told a story about when he was at Texas, I think he was an assistant. He intentionally dropped a play call sheet, or it might have been a Texas Tech, and it doesn't matter. He intentionally dropped a play call sheet, knowing that some GA was going to find it, and he left like the signals on there and everything. And they found it on the field after warmups. And apparently they went in and studied it. They had somebody in the box, watching the signals and trying to tell people what was going on. And it was a dummy play sheet. He just made up a whole bunch of signals and ended up routing whoever they were playing because they thought they had cracked the code because they picked up the play sheet that fell out of his pocket and he had just planted it. A couple of other things that he does, he'll talk about anything really. He's a good follow on Twitter because, most coaches, they're tweeting about their players or something team related, and Mike Leach is just constantly posting GIFs and memes and all sorts of other things that he's, I guess he's thinking about, maybe. I don't know. But, he's one of the funnier coaches that are on social media these days. Okay, so I'm getting the word that his stream is a little too slow. So we've got a couple of internet problems on his side. So we'll go ahead and cut the stream now. We'll try again. We might do a test stream. Maybe I can get him to agree to a test stream, maybe on the weekend or something. And we'll give you a little bit of bonus content more in this format with just us talking. But just so that you guys are aware going forward, we're moving more towards this format. We want to be able to interact with you guys, as you see in the comments. Unfortunately, I'm not particularly on Facebook enough to actually know how to use this stuff. So when I figure out how to do the polls, we'll have polls coming in the stream. Then this will be on Facebook. YouTube doesn't allow us to do this. And if you would like to follow us on Twitch, that's twitch.tv/BeverJ13. We've got chat there. I'll start setting that up to where we can have polls and bets and things like that for things going on. And maybe we can actually do some pretty cool giveaways using some of the new stuff that I found that we've used. So sorry the stream didn't go as smooth as possible. And Donnell is talking about this genius fake playbook. Just old. He said glue just old school Cabbage Patch the rest of time until the next catches up. So he's making fun of you, and that's okay. But what's even worse? You want to know the worst news about this stream so far? And y'all gonna laugh at me because there's this big record button right here, and I never pressed it. So that means from now into perpetuity, the only way that you're going to be able to catch this stream is on Facebook and 4 minutes late on YouTube. And however long, I think maybe the next 2 weeks on Twitch. So sorry about that. And anybody that wasn't here for the live show won't get to struggle through this with us. But Craig said he needs a jersey bad, and we'll leave it at that. Dude, Donnell, it's not even red. It's this big green button. Like, how dumb is that? It's a big green flashing button that makes me think that everything is okay, and it's not. So next time, I'll make me a checklist. I'll tape it to my monitor, and we'll figure it out. But do you have any last words? That was deuces.
Sure. Deuces.
There it is. So we'll see you next time. Hopefully it goes a little bit better. Thanks for being patient with us, and we'll catch you next time.